Okay, everyone, welcome to Workshop Wednesday. We're so excited to have Ms. Gorman back for part 2 of how to create a college list. The first part was recorded in December, and that is on the YouTube channel. So if you want to go back and rewatch that, please do. But without further ado, Ms. Gorman, please take it away.
Thank you so much, Ms. Duran. Thank you so much. And thank you again for organizing these Workshop Wednesdays. I hope the students have found them helpful. So last time in part 1 in December, we talked about identifying interests or preferences for colleges in order to find that fit or that match for you specifically. So we talked about location, size of the campus, number of students, maybe the academic major. But don't worry if you haven't had time. I know juniors, you've had a very busy year. So if you haven't had time to think about these interests or preferences, don't worry, there's still time. It's just a good idea to have some idea what you're looking for in a college before you actually start searching for college matches. Okay, so how do I actually do this? How do I start researching colleges? Well, the first thing I would offer as a suggestion is to talk with your school counselor, your college advisor, who will be Ms. Felipe at Mountain View High School and Ms. Price at Los Altos High School, and then the 2 college and career coordinators, Ms. Duran at Los Altos High School and Ms. Yazdani at Mountain View High School. And the reason why they're a wonderful resource to start with is because they have experience with students at your high school. You could say to them, you know, I'm interested in direct entry nursing. What can you tell me about it? Where have students at my high school gone? Where have they been successful? Have they liked the school they attended? So they have a lot of history, and that's why it's a wonderful place to start. And I'm hoping most of the juniors have had their one-on-one appointments with the college advisor, either Ms. Felipe or Ms. Price. So I hope you've at least just started meeting with them and thinking about schools that will be a match for you. You can also attend virtual college visits, and I know our school district hosted over 200 in the fall, and also college fairs. And I know Ms. Duran was saying there's several college fairs. I have a dear friend who attended with her son. Believe it or not, it's her 4th son applying to college. And she said it was very helpful and informative. She didn't know what to expect because it wasn't in person. But she said, I actually really learned about stuff. So attending virtual college visits at your high school and college fairs can also help you get an idea of what colleges are out there that match your interests. Once it becomes safe to visit college campuses in person, I highly recommend doing that. I also highly recommend starting local. Start local and then branch out to other parts of the country if that's what you're interested in. What I like about starting local is we have such a wonderful variety of colleges right here in our area. For example, you could start at Santa Clara, which is a private Jesuit school that offers a school of engineering, a school of business, and a school of arts and sciences. And if the campus isn't open for visitors, I suggest kind of doing a drive-through or drive around the campus, look at the buildings, get an idea for the location. Is it near a city? Is it near a train stop? So you could hop on the train and go to San Francisco, for example. I also love saying, let's go to UC Santa Cruz for the day. Now, Santa Cruz is very interesting because it's modeled after the college system that Oxford uses. There are 10 residential colleges. I think that's fascinating. Did students know that? There are 10 residential colleges at UC Santa Cruz. They offer strong science majors. They offer a unique computer game design in their computer science major. They offer a film and digital media major that I know is very appealing to students maybe in Freestyle Academy. I know a student from Mountain View High School several years ago who visited UC Santa Cruz with his family. And his mother loves to tell the story about how somebody walked by with a surfboard. And her son was like, okay, I think I like this school. And he learned that you could actually take surfing as a PE class. So he loved Santa Cruz, being a freestyle student at Mountain View High and then majoring in film and digital media. He graduated from UC Santa Cruz and has a career. So it's good to know that students from our area, students who were in your shoes, have gone on and been successful. I also love the University of San Francisco. That's another Jesuit private school. But what it has that's unique and attractive is it has its own nursing school. So it's a direct entry nursing program. We can talk about more about that later, about why that's attractive. But the University of San Francisco is another option that's close by. And of course, you know, it doesn't hurt to look at Stanford. It's a reach for everyone now because we'll talk about that later. Their acceptance rate is so low. But it's good to see what a large university feels like, how it's spread out. Now, is that okay with you? Would you like attending a school that's spread out and you would take a shuttle from location to location? Maybe you'd rather have a smaller campus. I know when I was a high school student, that's what I wanted. I wanted a campus in which I could walk from one end to the other. I didn't need a bike. I didn't need a shuttle. So think about what's important to you when you're looking at schools. And then we have some wonderful online resources. I'm going to spend more time talking about Naviance. That's how they pronounce it, Naviance, like navigate. And then there's also College Board's Big Future that I think is a wonderful resource. And then lastly, there are two guidebooks that we really like. I know Ms. Price at Los Altos High uses Book of Majors to start building a college list. And then I love this Guide to Colleges. When I did the UCLA College Counseling Certificate Program, that was our textbook. So our textbook was Fisk Guide to Colleges. And I believe there are copies in the College and Career Center. And what I love about Fisk is Edward Fisk describes each college that's in the book by 8 different subjects or topics. And he does them in the same order. He always starts with campus setting, then he talks about academics, then he talks about what the student body is like, and he always ends with extracurricular activities. And I like that because it's very easy for you to compare schools. What I also absolutely love about Fisk is it gives you overlap schools. So let's say you're a student and you're thinking, okay, I love Santa Clara. I like the way it feels. I like the size, but I just don't want to be quite this close to home. I'd like to maybe live a little bit farther away. So there's an area where you look up and it says overlaps. And so these overlaps are different from the overlaps in Naviance because these are overlaps for everyone who applies to Santa Clara. It's kind of like marketing. If you ask the Santa Clara admissions office, when students apply to your school, where else do they apply? They could, for the most part, give you that information and tell you. So some of the overlaps for Santa Clara are Cal Poly, Loyola Marymount, and then there's some local, which we would expect in our area, UC Berkeley, UC Davis, and USC. But I would look at Loyola Marymount and think, okay, all right, so that's a school that's about the same size as Santa Clara. It's located in Los Angeles. All right, so now let me go to the Fisk Guide and look at Loyola Marymount. What overlaps do I see there? Oh my goodness, now they mention Chapman. Okay, I hadn't thought about Chapman University. So what we found when we were in the UCLA program doing this as an exercise, we found that if you look at the overlaps of the overlaps, pretty soon you start to get the idea that you're on the right track and you start to be able to build a college list. There's one other thing I would like to add, going back to talking with members of your school campus. It's okay for you students, if you're juniors, to ask the seniors why they chose a particular school. I think that's very educational. And informative. What we just don't like is if you ask students, what's a better school? If you ask advice from other students. But I think it's extremely beneficial to ask a senior, for example, why did you choose Gonzaga? One of the things I'm interested in is at Los Altos High, we have several seniors who have committed to Gonzaga. I'm curious, is it their direct entry nursing program? Is it their engineering? I mean, I'm curious. So you can learn a lot by asking this year's seniors why they chose a particular school, why it was a match for them, and maybe you have similar interests. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so we're going to dive a little bit more into Naviance. The reason why I like using Naviance to research colleges is because the data provided is specific to your high school. Isn't that wonderful? So if you're at Mountain View High School, you're going to find information based on the classes. I think the information started in 2009. So it's several years of history and data that's being collected. So if you're at Mountain View High, the data is specific to you. And if you're at Los Altos High School, the data is specific to you. Another reason why I like Naviance is because it's available to everyone in our school district. I think this is amazing. Not every high school has Naviance because it's relatively expensive. The MVLA Foundation actually pays the cost of $27,000 a year so that our students have access to this wonderful resource. Okay, so what you would do in Naviance is log in. That's the important thing. And for some of you, you might need to reset your password or have it reset. That's okay. I would say get Naviance settled now because you're going to be using it a lot senior year. Okay, so go ahead and log in. And under the Colleges tab, you're going to click on Supermatch College Search. And then you're going to select the factors that are important to you. You know, I'd probably start with location and academic major just because I think you probably have an idea where you'd like to go to school. And what will happen is Supermatch will generate a list of college matches specifically for you. And what's nice is you can click on the icon of a particular college, and it will automatically get added to colleges I'm thinking about. So that's the list you're going to start building now. Colleges I'm thinking about. Okay, so why is this important? This is important because it's in Naviance and your school counselor, your college advisor, and your college and career coordinator, your college and career center coordinator have access to it. So you could ask one of them, can you look at my list? Am I missing a school? Does my list look balanced? And we'll talk a little bit more about what it means to have a balanced list. But I remember when I was on campus, students would ask Ms. Price, can you just eyeball my list for me? You know, what am I missing? Am I missing a school? And based on her experience, she would absolutely give students suggestions. So that's why you want to build your list in Naviance under colleges I'm thinking about. So start adding colleges right now, junior year. So at this point, you could have 20 or 25 schools and colleges I'm thinking about right now. Think of this as your draft list. Think of it as your draft. It's not your final list, it's your draft. It's one you're going to kind of play with and move around. But the reason why this list contains helpful information is because it's going to identify why the college is a match for you. You can actually click on why is it a match, and it will tell you, maybe it's the location, maybe it's the major. It will also provide a way for you to connect with the college. So if you click on a college, it will say, would you like to connect with us? And what I would suggest is, if it's a school you think you're interested in, I would say yes, connect with the admissions office. There's only one little secret or one little caution I want to tell you. If you connect with the college and they send you emails, open the emails and read them, because believe it or not, they actually know if you've read them or opened the email. So it doesn't help you in terms of demonstrated interest or showing interest in the college if you don't open the email. Does that make sense? I know it sounds kind of a little creepy, but the idea is it helps colleges to know if you're genuinely interested in their school. And it's really to your advantage. It's to your advantage in the admissions process if you are interested to show them, yes, I'm interested. When you send me an email inviting me to a virtual program or a virtual event or an on-campus event, that yes, I've actually read the email. Okay. The other thing I like about this list in colleges I'm thinking about is it will show your GPA in relation to students at your high school who were accepted. Isn't that wonderful? That's such a wonderful piece of data. And that will help you identify which of these three buckets we talk about, reach, target, likely, which bucket this college will go into in order to have a balanced list. Okay. Okay. So you have this draft list in colleges I'm thinking about in Naviance. You can also, by the way, have your own spreadsheet for organization to organize yourself. You could absolutely have your own spreadsheet of colleges. But it's very important that you also update Naviance, because your college counselor and your teachers are going to need that list to send information to colleges. They're going to send their letters of recommendation via Naviance. Our registrar is going to send your final transcript via Naviance. So eventually it has to get into Naviance. You could have your own organizational system, that's fine. But it's very important that you also do it in Naviance. Okay, so as you get close to senior year, the beginning of when your senior year starts, you're going to want to start condensing that big draft list of colleges I'm thinking about into your final list. And we think your final college list should have about 8 to 12 colleges. Why? Why do we come up with that number? Well, it turns out we found that after 12 colleges, students get exhausted. Don't forget, you still have a full academic schedule. You probably have extracurricular activities you're involved in. Maybe you have a job. After 12, it gets very difficult for students to complete the applications. And you're thinking, but wait a minute, isn't the Common App one application for private schools? And yes, you're right. The Common App and the Coalition, you can use one or the other for most schools. Let's take the Common App, for example. Yes, you would use it for private schools and some out of state. But this is where it starts to get tiring. Usually colleges will have a supplemental essay. They kind of want to get an idea, why us? Why do you think we're a match for you? And what I found is students who have very long lists just get exhausted. They just say, I cannot do another application. I cannot tell another school why they're the match, because it takes research. You actually have to research their website and explain why that school is a match for your interests. And we just find after you get past 12 schools on your list, your applications become diluted. They're just not as strong. Now, there's something I want to tell you that's important about that list. It's 8 to 12 schools, But this is the catch. You can apply to all 9 undergraduate University of California campuses, and it counts as 1. Okay? The same thing with the California state schools. You can apply, and there are 23 campuses. You can apply to as many as you would like, and those count as 1. So really what we're looking at is about 8 to 10 schools that are not a member of the UC campuses or the CSU. Okay, I hope that makes sense. And you really want to have this list pretty much tightened up by the time senior year starts in August. Okay, and on the right-hand side, you can see a guideline. A guideline, we've often used this: 2 to 3 reach schools, 4 to 6 target, and 2 to 3 likely. They're just guidelines. You can see that the majority of your schools will be in the target and likely categories. And the reason why we do this, let me go to the next slide. The reason why we do this is because we really want you to have options in the spring of your senior year. We want you to be able to look at your list and say, oh, okay, I have choices. And if you have too many reach schools, you won't have the options that you would like. And it's really heartbreaking to watch students struggle. So it's nice to be able to have different options. So that's why we really encourage you to have a balanced list. When I'm putting together a list for students, I actually like to start with likely schools because I think it takes the pressure off. So what is a likely school? A likely school means you like the school and you're likely to get accepted. And I remember in the last workshop, a student asked, well, how do I know if it's a likely school? The way you would tell is your academic profile would exceed the average GPA range for students accepted in last year's entering class. You can also click Compare Me in Naviance. I love that. There's a Compare Me. When you have your list of colleges I'm thinking about, in the upper right hand, if you click on Compare Me, it will actually let you know, compared to students at your high school, where your GPA falls. Unfortunately, they use the word safety, but I know I prefer the word likely. Just from experience, I found when students get accepted to their safety schools, they're wonderful schools. But students will say, but I only got into my safety schools. I'm so disappointed. I'm like, no, they're great. They're great options. They're great matches for you. But the word likely takes away that negative connotation. So that's why I like the word likely. You like the school and you're likely to get accepted. So in addition to clicking on Compare Me in Naviance, you could also look at the scattergrams, those graphs. And again, that's based on data only from your high school. So I think that's very helpful. And lastly, you could actually go to the college website. Now, unfortunately, right now, they only have the class of 2024 up. They haven't put the information for the class of 2025 yet. That should be available soon. But for example, if you go to the University of Oregon's website and you look at their freshman profile, you'll find out that the entering class consisted of students with a GPA, the middle 50% range was 3.31 to 3.9. So that helps you. Let's say you have an unweighted GPA of 4.0. I would say there's a very good chance that would be a likely school for you. It gives you an idea, a guideline. It's not perfect. It's not definite because other factors go into admissions. It isn't just the GPA. It's your demonstrated interest like we talked about. It's your major. It's what you've done in high school, your courses, the grades you've gotten, specific courses. maybe activities you've done outside of school. So these are just guidelines. So target, this is going to be the majority of your list, will be your target schools. And a target school is a school in which your GPA falls within the average GPA range for the last entering class. So I looked at Santa Clara's website, for example. And this is interesting. I like what Santa Clara does. Cal Poly does the same thing, and so does San Jose State. They'll actually tell you based on the college. For example, the College of Arts and Sciences GPA is slightly lower for students who were accepted. Then you have the School of Business and the School of Engineering. So you could see what your interests are. There's something else that's interesting about this. At UC Berkeley, for example, if you're interested in computer science is offered in the College of Letters and Sciences and the College of Engineering. Okay, so I'm not sure about Santa Clara, but they might have a computer science that would be a BA degree in arts and sciences as opposed to engineering. Do you see what I'm getting at? So you could see, oh gosh, you know, maybe I'm a better match for arts and sciences than I am for the School of Engineering. And we've had a lot of students, my daughter included, who majored in computer science at UC Berkeley in the College of Letters and Sciences. And what she liked about that is she was able to take classes in other liberal arts subjects as opposed to the College of Engineering that was very specific. That was more hardware oriented than software. Okay, so this gives you a guideline. I hope that makes sense. And then reach. Reach, we say 2 to 3. I mean, I think maybe two reach schools on your list. You know, I think it helps satisfy maybe an interest you have in a school, but you're not putting that much time into the application. And a reach college is one in which your academics fall below the average range for the last accepted class, or if the college's acceptance rate is very low. So for example, Stanford's class of 2024, the acceptance rate was 5.19%. They had 45,227 applications, and they accepted 2,349 students. There are other schools such as the Ivy League schools, MIT, Caltech, and Pomona are reach schools for everyone based on their low acceptance rate. Okay. So now the last slide, we're going to talk about, I'm just going to summarize your college list. You're going to check for balance. We talked about balance, those 3 buckets, reach, target, and likely, because we want you to have options in the spring of your senior year. We want you to have choices. I know there are times when Ms. Price has looked at students' college lists and said to them, you know, I'm so sorry, but you have all reach schools. Let's research and find some matches for you where you have a better chance of gaining acceptance, so you'll have choices. Number 2, include at least one college your family can afford in case you don't receive financial aid. I have to tell you, that's one of the most heartbreaking discussions I would have with students. It's the spring of their senior year. They've been accepted to their top choice school, a school they love, but they just did not receive enough financial aid. And it was just absolutely heartbreaking. In some cases, those students would then say, you know what, I'm going to go to a community college and then reapply. But I would include one college that your family can afford. And I would guess it's probably a California state school. And I find it amazing when I look at the majors that are offered at our California state schools. It's amazing. San Diego State offers direct entry nursing. San Jose State offers, oh my goodness, they offer the most. They have nursing, it's not direct entry, but they have aerospace and animation and aviation and engineering and business. Our CSUs are truly amazing. They're more hands-on than the University of California. The CSUs are designed to be hands-on and prepare you for a career, whereas the University of California system typically is a research organization, a research school. And then number 3, be happy to attend any college on your list. I believe there's a book that's called 9 First Choices. And the idea is if you have 9 schools on your list, be content to attend any one of those. Sometimes students will say, senior year, well, I got accepted, but I really didn't want to go there. I think, oh, okay, then don't put that on your list, because you could get a wonderful financial aid package. You could get a merit scholarship, and it looks so appealing. But if you aren't interested in the school, then I probably would not put it on my list. And then number 4, finalize your list to about 8 to 12 colleges the summer before senior year starts. And then lastly, what you're going to do when senior year comes along, you're going to move those schools that you're interested in to colleges I'm applying to. Because that, again, I mentioned, is that's how your counselor and your teachers are going to upload the information to the Common App. Probably even the Coalition, but I'm not as familiar with that application. But it's through Naviance that they're going to upload the admissions requirements. So I hope that helps. I'm sure you have a lot of questions, and I'm hoping Ms. Duran will help me
I will
with the
stop
answers.
recording now. That was amazing. Thank you.